Hey everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and we're back again, and this is the importance of a roster. And for the sake of this conversation, we'll use launch roster. I think we've kind of all agreed, at least in one way or another, that any game that is Avengers will have post-launch content, whether that's in expansions or whether that's in a live service is open for debate, and I would like to hear your thoughts on that debate as well as we discuss and move through this. But when it comes to the roster and the importance of a roster, I think that is so significant. You want to be able to play as your favorite hero, but at the same time, there also has to be content to flesh out over time after launch, and like I said, expansions or live service. But what you start with, putting that first foot down, is so important. Now, for the sake of this topic and for the sake of this video and for the sake of interacting with all of you, we're going to limit this to playable hero roster. We're not going to talk about villains in this video. So when we talk about playable hero rosters, I know that there is the obvious: Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye. That's 6 characters already. Now, Hawkeye and Black Widow were later additions to the Avengers in the comics, but obviously the average consumer, the average MCU fan, know them as founding members of the Avengers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I feel like because of brand synergy, one way or the other, those two will always be a part of launch rosters. But that's still only 6. And frankly, not a whole lot of variety. So 6, in my opinion, is not enough for a launch roster in a cooperative game, especially if we're hoping to have 4 to 6 player missions and game types, which obviously, in my opinion, I would skew for the 6 player mode versus the 4 player. So 6 heroes, that roster, that's all you have. Then there's also the conversation on whether or not you allow people to double up as the same hero in missions. Now, I think it works sometimes, but when you have a small roster, I think it's incredibly restrictive. It's, for me, my feeling that the best step for an Avengers game is not to have game types where you can play as the same hero, but instead to have a stronger launch lineup where people are more excited to explore other heroes and to feel like they have choices. So if you launch with, if you're stuck with those main 6, if you have to have those 6 in a game, what else do you do? Well, Ant-Man and Wasp, Dr. Henry Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, they are founding members of the Avengers. In my opinion, they belong in a starting roster lineup. They should be there right from the beginning. I feel really, really strongly about that. Now, it's called the Avengers. Through the MCU and even in the comics now, the Avengers are often associated, or at least one of their big, popular, beloved members is Spider-Man. Marvel's Avengers took advantage of that as well, and Spider-Man was a part of it exclusively on PlayStation, although he does exist in the PC copy of the game, which therefore I assume he exists in the Xbox copy of the game. So I feel like you have Ant-Man, you have Wasp, and you have Spider-Man. That's 3 more characters. Spider-Man is just a shoo-in. I don't believe you can skip him. I really don't. I think he should be there from launch. You should not take your time adding Spider-Man. Even Ultimate Alliance knew better. He has to be there from the start. So you have you have those main 6 to start with. Then you have these additional 3. I still don't think that's quite enough. Okay? Now, we may split hairs on who the optional roster would be, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on a full launch lineup, and whether I think we can all agree that Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk, they have to be in any launch lineup. I know we can split hairs and debate Hawkeye and Black Widow, but I'm trying to be reasonable to marketing and to PR. They feel like a shoe-in. But I still want to know what your full launch game lineup will be. And again, this is about being reasonable to development and with the ideas of expansion and post-launch content. So when we look at Ant-Man, Wasp, and Spider-Man, who else could we fill out there? Well, I think due to War for Wakanda and due to those expansions, I don't see a reason in waiting for that. I say you immediately have Black Panther in the launch game. I also feel the same way about Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. You should just have her right from the launch of the game. And again, there's variety there, there's versatility there, there's various degrees of it. So if you look at the launch, if you look at the core lineup that we assume have to be in the title, and then you add Ant-Man, Wasp, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, that's 5 additional heroes on top of the 6. So let's add one more, and let's make it a full even 12. Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch needs to be here from the very beginning. She is, without a doubt, every poll, every video, everything we ever ran asking people their most wanted playable character in Marvel's Avengers, Scarlet Witch won by a landslide. No company should ignore that, because if you take even the previous channel and this channel's analytics and base and the overwhelming support Scarlet Witch got, and you magnify that, then obviously I think you could reach a similar conclusion everywhere. Scarlet Witch needs to be in the game from launch. That is a full roster of 12. I think that's a great starting lineup. There's variety, there's versatility, there's uniqueness. I truly, truly believe this is an amazing launch lineup. But again, this is from my perspective. I want to know yours now. So let me know in the comments below how you feel a Marvel's Avengers game needs to launch, what that roster needs to launch with. And we're talking the bare minimum to meet your expectations on launch, a launch number, and who those heroes should be. I think this is great for marketing, and I think this is a really interesting dive into where the consumer is at in terms of hero popularity and what they want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Above all else, and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, and have a marvelous day. Bye, everyone.